Hi, this is Dan Sousa. You're watching Viva Loudoun Live with Dan Sousa. So it's the athlete titled show. Tried to work on our lighting here a little bit tonight, removing the lights around the room. I want to look a little bit less like this is some video being sent from a third world country where they're asking one of your loved ones for a ransom. We've got a lot to cover tonight. Wrestling, gymnastics, and swimming all finished with VHSL state finals over the weekend. We had Dulles District wrap up its boys and girls basketball tournament, and we have regional basketball coming up. So we have all kinds of news going on. First thing though, it's President's Day. It's a special, very special President's Day show. It's our first ever President's Day show. And on Facebook, we've had a poll going today. Name your favorite president of all time. I'm a big George Washington fan. I'm very surprised right now George Washington basically getting his butt kicked by Abraham Lincoln, and a little disappointing there. I don't know where all my George Washington fans are, but if you think about it, Lincoln's got a lot going for him. For one thing, the whole vampire thing, right? Killing of the vampires, so that's kind of an unfair advantage. He's got that other Lincoln movie out with Daniel Day-Lewis. He also, Abraham Lincoln invented the Lincoln logs, so one of my favorite childhood toys. That's an unfair advantage. I mean, the guy even invented the Lincoln Town Car, so it's no surprise, I guess, that Abraham Lincoln is winning our poll. Maybe next year we can possibly get George Washington up there. So let's start with basketball. Dulles District tournament this week, and we'll go right to the boys side. I'm going to show you some photos. These are beautiful photos that Gary Sousa took. Now, Gary Sousa, same last name, S-O-U-S-A, very patriotic. You know John Philip Sousa, who was a Marine Corps band director, famous March King. Gary Sousa, no relation to me, Dan Sousa, just a good Portuguese name. Fantastic photographer, and Gary was at the Dulles District Finals at Tuscarora High School on Friday, taking pictures of the Potomac Falls boys in Loudoun Valley. Loudoun Valley defeated Potomac Falls for a second straight Dulles District crown. Potomac Falls will still be the top seed coming out of the Dulles District by virtue of winning the one-game playoff after the two teams finished as co-champions. Tuscarora was packed on Friday, and you see here a picture of some of the ADs, some of the principals. I got to give a big shout out to Derek Ferry over at Tuscarora High School. Class show that they put on. I'm not just saying that because they gave me a band to go in the hospitality room and get free food. As a reporter, that's one of the best ways to their heart. But they put on a great show. You see the fans here. This is the Potomac Falls student section. I believe they're being led by Banana. I don't really have an explanation for that. If you're a Panther fan and you want to tweet at me, you can let me know why the Banana was leading you. But it was packed. There was having trouble. Some people were having trouble finding seats almost. Chad Dawson, seen here coaching up the Vikings. It's a very experienced team, and they are in Division III this year. Was Jeff Haas? You see Jeff Haas, always animated, in Division IV. Last year, the two teams were both in the same division, in Division IV, and they met in the Dulles District tournament finals. Loudoun Valley won that. Then they met in the region finals, in which the two teams faced off again, and Potomac Falls won in their region finals at Valley. This year they're not in the same district, the same region, Valley having a smaller school population, and both coaches said after the game, it's sort of the same thing. Jeff Haas said, hey, I'm just glad we don't have to face Loudoun Valley again. Talked to Chad Dawson, he said, I'll tell you what, I'm just glad we don't have to face Potomac Falls again. You see the Viking student section here. They were into the game. You can see how physical the game was. Josh Germard, Division IV Player of the Year, getting a little bit of a unfriendly greeting as he tries to drive in. And in this contest, it was pretty much Loudoun Valley controlling things throughout most of the game. They used their length. The two teams had met last week of the regular season. Potomac Falls was able to win to force the co-championship, and the Potomac Falls won again in a playoff 4 days later. So Potomac Falls had won the last 2 meetings. And Potomac Falls had kind of stifled the Loudoun Valley offense. Loudoun Valley figured out at this point that Potomac Falls was going to go ahead and they were going to put their center on the Viking point guard Cameron Keani. Hope the Vikings ran their normal offense. The Vikings pulled Keani out, forcing the Potomac Falls big man to come out and try to guard him. Very patient. They were able to work their way in for some easy baskets. And that patience paid off in a district championship. We see him here with the Dulles District Advantage. So congratulations to Loudoun Valley. It was an entertaining game. There were a lot of scouts on the sidelines. Let me tell you, maybe just Division III and Division II schools, but the fact that Potomac Falls has Michael Janowski, who's a freshman, what a fantastic player that he is. He plays way above the height that he's listed at 6'1". He plays above that. And you look at Wanye Allen, the sophomore, 6'4" for Potomac Falls. Those 2 players are drawing a lot of interest. And then over at Loudoun Valley, you've got Paul Rowley, who's just a junior at 6'7", and he's drawing the interest. They've got a freshman, Trey McDyer, who was playing well. And then, of course, you've got your seniors for them like Josh Bernard and Jovan Miller. So a lot of scouts, and we're going to see a lot more scouts there. Taking a look over here, if you go to Viva Loudoun, we've listed the region matchups. It starts tomorrow night. In Division III, Loudoun Valley is the number 3 seed. Western Albemarle is number 1, Kettle Run is 2, and then Hanley is 4. Unfortunately for Valley, the 5th seed is Flavanna, and then we have the 6th seed, which matches up with Valley, and as luck would have it, or unlucky for the Vikings, it is Heritage. So there's only 2 Dulles District teams that have made the Division III playoffs in Region 2. They are matched against each other. One's guaranteed to advance to the semis and be 1 win away from states, and the other will be eliminated. Monticello is 7 and Fauquier is 8. Kind of interesting matchup. I saw Heritage play Loudoun Valley in the Dulles District semifinals. Heritage is they're a very athletic team, and they were not able to get their offense going like they did in the regular season against Loudoun Valley. In the regular season, they were able to upset the Vikings. And what the Vikings did is the Vikings ran basically a triangle and 2 defense on Heritage. Zach Kaufman from Heritage, great scorer. He threw down 32 points on February 1st against the Vikings. But in the rematch in the district semifinals, they contained him. I know he just scored a couple points in that game. He got in foul trouble, but also that triangle and 2 that was put on him. Mr. Lewis and Zach Kaufman, the 2 Heritage players, were guarded by the Vikings, and then the Vikings are in a triangle defensively and that helping out. So it'll be interesting to see how Heritage bounces back against that. Obviously, they've probably been working the last couple of days on what to do if that triangle 2 is thrown at them again. That's the Division III matchup. Potomac Falls, by virtue of its nice record here, is number 1 in the Division IV playoffs. Shrando is 2, Liberty is 3. Then we have a lot more Dulles District teams have made the playoffs. 4th seed is Loudoun County. So another one of these matchups where we have 2 local teams playing each other. Loudoun County will be at Potomac Falls tomorrow night in the first round of Region 2 Division 4. The 5th seed is James Wood, and the 6th seed is Briar Woods. Briar Woods will be at Liberty. And Millbrook, another team. Actually, I take that back. I'm jumping ahead to a potential semifinal matchup with Loudoun County. Tuscarora is the 8th seed, and the Huskies are going to be facing at Potomac Falls on Tuesday. If Potomac Falls is able to take care of Tuscarora, the 8th seed, they have a potential matchup then in the semis against Loudoun County, because Loudoun County is the 4th seed hosting James Wood. So we've got Dulles District teams at the 1 seed in D4, the 4 seed, the 6 seed, and the 8 seed. So it's very much possible that Potomac Falls' road to qualifying for states again could include wins or playing games against Tuscarora and Loudoun County, 2 Dulles District teams. So that brings you up to date on what's going on in the boys basketball. And you see with all of these teams making region, I know one thing people have asked me is, what does it mean next year when the Dulles District tournament won't mean anything and they won't even hold it because everyone will be moving on to conferences to start. The conferences are everybody in. Do we need a playoff system where everybody's in? Well, if you look at it, Really, we have an everybody in playoff system now. The Dulles District, you had 9 out of 10 teams that made the district tournament. And then from that district tournament, we have 6 teams that are going on to region. So next year, you're going to have all those 10 teams will be moving on to the conference as the first step. But then from there, only 2 teams from each conference will move on to the sectionals. So I think actually the new system next year will have less teams moving on than what we see now. So I'm not too worried about that system that's happening. In the girls matchup, Woodgrove and Loudoun County once again faced each other. And Woodgrove girls, like they did in the regular season, they were able to beat County. They're the regular season champions, and for the first time, Woodgrove is the Dulles District Tournament champions. Last year, Woodgrove was the runner-up in the Dulles District Tournament. They were the runner-up in the Division III tournament. They made it all the way to state semifinals. See a picture here of Brooke Basinger. She's a sophomore. Woodgrove is a very experienced team. Basinger as a sophomore might be one of their top pure shooters, and she had a great game Friday night. Sarah Hardison, another one. This is one of the senior leadership that we have here. And again, I want to give Gary Sousa a big shout out because these photos that I'm showing you right now were taken by Gary Sousa. If you go on the VivaLoudoun website, click the photo tab at the top of our page, and you'll go and you'll see all the photos we have from all the different sports. We try to keep them reasonably priced if you want to order them or your parents want to order them, grandparents. That way you can have the photos, but if not, they're just fun to go in there and to look at all the different photos. This is some of the defense that was being applied by Woodgrove. Woodgrove's defense led to transition baskets, forcing a lot of turnovers. In the third quarter alone, the Woodgrove defense forced 12 Loudoun County turnovers. Loudoun County, I believe, in the first 8 trips down the floor in that third quarter, was only able to get off 1 shot. It's hard to win when that happens. When Woodgrove's not getting transition baskets, they have Stephanie Purnell inside. She's one of the best pure true post players that we have in the area. There aren't that many post players, boys and girls side really, that are true post players, and Stephanie Purnell is. So if it comes down to a half court game, you see Purnell here, she can carve out some room inside, is able to score, rebound, and after it's all over, the Woodgrove girls get to celebrate. And they get the Dulles District banner, get to host the trophies. So congratulations to Dulles District girls, the Woodgrove girls, I should say. Wolverines celebrating. So what's that mean in the playoffs for the girls? Well, Woodgrove and Loudoun County, it's a reversal of last year. We just talked about how in the boys, Potomac Falls and Loudoun Valley had to play each other in the region. This year they're split up. Last year, Loudoun County Woodgrove girls did not have to play each other in the region because Woodgrove was D3. Loudoun County was D4. Well, this year, guess what? Woodgrove, growing population out there in Percival. We have more homes than there are tractors now, and they have moved up to Division 4. So the playoff setup is this way. In Division 3, we only have one Dulles District team that's got in. That is Heritage. Heritage will be in at the 5 seed. They travel to Brentsville to start the playoffs. Monticello, Warren County, Western Albemarle are 1, 2, 3, and Fluvanna, Hanley, and Kettle Run 6, 7, 8. So Heritage Road, if they want to qualify for Division 3 state playoff, win at Brentsville, and then a possible trip down to Charlottesville to face Monticello, number 1 seed. In Division 4, we have Woodgrove at number 1, Sherando, coached by the former Loudoun County girls coach Kevin Reed at number 2, and his former team, Loudoun County, at number 3. Millbrook, that's been a power for the last couple years, but is basically a human team once again, is at the number 4 seed, followed by the Dulles District's Tuscarora, which will go to Millbrook to start. Playoffs tomorrow night. Powhatan at 6, James Wood at 7, and Liberty at 8. So Powhatan travels to Loudoun County on Tuesday. Woodgrove will host Liberty. And if all plays out, we could have a Woodgrove-Loudoun County matchup in the finals next Saturday. The way the regional playoffs are structured, we've got Tuesday night quarterfinals, Thursday night semifinals, Friday night finals. That should all be at the high seeds. If you have a question that you want to ask us, you go onto Facebook and use the hashtag AskViva. Fire any questions away. If we ask you a question tonight while we're sitting here, then we will give you one of our VivaLoudoun t-shirts, which are collector's items. I believe they're being sold on eBay. Space Shuttle, I believe last year we saw somebody at Space Shuttle had one of the VivaLoudoun t-shirts. That might not be true. I'll have to check on that. Cheer Sports is one of our sponsors. We want to thank Cheers. For years, they've been a big supporter. When we first started Loud Prep Sports, our original site, and then when we moved over to Digital Sports, and then now with VivaLoudoun, we want to thank them. And I want to thank the folks over here at DMVSTREAM.COM that are hosting our show. And if you haven't checked it out, you can go around the DMV Stream website here after listening to our show and check it out, because they broadcast pro, amateur, college, high school, AAU, and youth games, DC, Maryland, and Virginia, and you can get the games, to your television, your computer, your mobile device, iPads, iPhones, Androids, and more. Even your microwave oven can receive the games. No, actually, your microwave oven can receive the games. Okay. It's probably a little bit of false advertising. And if you wish, you can purchase a copy of this broadcast. You can get it on DVD or download directly to your computer. You can find out more at DMVSTREAM.COM. So you could actually purchase a copy of this broadcast. If you do, please give me a call. I'm very interested in what you're doing with the broadcast of this game. So what other sports do we have happening this weekend? I said we had all the big sports that were going on. We had wrestling finishing up. AA in Salem. AAA was down at the Chesapeake High School. We had state swimming. AA was at Christiansburg Aquatic Center. AAA at George Mason Aquatic Center. We had gymnastics over at Centerville High School. Let's start with wrestling, one of our favorite sports. And we have a picture here of the Incredible Hulcher. That's right, Briarwood's 126-pounder Michael Hulcher. And we're working on this nickname. I'm not sure if he wants this nickname. We're working on he's only a junior. He won a AA state championship at 126. Congratulations. 6-1 win in the first round, 6-1 win in the quarterfinals, 13-4 major decision in the semis, and 11-4 comfortable win in the finals. Michael Hulcher, or as we're going to call him all next year, whether he likes it or not, the Incredible Hulcher. If you're good at Photoshop and you can give me an image of Hulcher as the Incredible Hulk, I think we'll use that, and I will give you a free t-shirt. So right now I'm telling you, Photoshop Michael Hulcher, Briarwoods 126, and we will give you the t-shirt. How about Brandon Dine of Dominion, junior, 106-pounder. He made it all the way to the finals. Second place for him. Chris Walker at 120 from Woodgrove was third place. Congratulations to Chris Walker. Logan Smith, Loudoun County. Here's Logan, first place at Region 2. Now Logan finished sixth, and I'm sure if you know Logan, he's disappointed that he wasn't there in the finals along with Hulcher and Brandon from Dominion. But Logan Smith finished a fantastic wrestling career at Loudoun County. So a big shout out to Logan Smith. And sixth place finish. Let's go through the other finishers, the other medalists for AA. Hunter Day from Loudoun County, third place at 160. Tad Hagen of Potomac Falls, sixth place junior at 170. And Hagen was only, I believe, the number 4 seed coming out of the Region 2. He did a great job of getting through the tournament. He even was able to beat Mitchell Stevens of Loudoun County to continue advancing. He did a nice job. 195, Zach Causey of Potomac Falls, fourth place. Dylan O'Connor from Woodgrove, another senior, finishing up a great career, seventh place at 285. And Ronald Cruz, third place from Parkview. Cruz, we had a little bit of fun with Twitter on him. Cruise Control, the Cruise Missile. We dared him to go do a cannonball over at the state swim. He said he did not have time, but I think he would have done it. We're still going to give Ronald Cruz a Viva Loudoun t-shirt for being a good sport. AAA, we only had 4 wrestlers in the AAA tournament, but they did a great job. Tarkane Martin of Broad Run finished 7th at 138. Andy Heinrichs of Freedoms, 8th place at 145. And Brendan Cameron Diner Sixth place at 195. I enjoyed seeing Mr. Cameron on the football field when it was Freedom versus Champ. Fantastic night. I believe he had over 200 yards rushing that night. Nice athlete. So congratulations to all those fine wrestlers. And while we're talking about wrestling right now, I have to say something. IOC this week, if you've been following the news, basically said that for the 2020 Olympics, they're going to drop wrestling from the Olympics. Which, I mean, how can that be? Wrestling is one of the original sports for the Olympics. If you go all the way back to Greek and Roman times, wrestling was like the first sport. I mean, it's basically the purest sport. See a poster here of Dan Gable, one of the most famous U.S. wrestler of all time, who says, and this is a quote of his, "Once you have wrestled, everything else in life is easy." And I grew up as a kid. My brother was a high school wrestling coach. I had Dan Gable's poster on my wall. I didn't dream to be an Olympic champion. I only dreamed basically to not get pinned each week. But there are a lot of kids that grew up wanting to be Olympic champions. And I just think that it's a terrible decision by the IOC. You're going to have rhythmic gymnastics. You're going to have synchronized swimming. You're not going to have wrestling. Come on. Seriously. A sport that definitely is in the Olympics and deserves to be in the Olympics is swimming. And at the AA meet, our local swimmers had a fantastic meet. And this first picture that we're seeing right here, well, first of all, I got to give a shout out to these pictures. These pictures were given to us courtesy of Gemma Rosenberg. This is her daughter, Kaylee Rosenberg, swimming right here. And Kaylee had an amazing meet. She came away with two, not one, but two state titles at AA. 200 IM, she swam it in 204.25 to win the 200 IM. And then she swam the 100-yard breast in 102.12, which was a state record time. So not only does she win the 100-yard breast event, she claims a state record. Gemma was so nice. She's been for 6 years providing us with photos, giving us information. She's not only a supporter of her daughter and her son, who swims in college, but she's a supporter of all Loudoun swimmers. So she gave us these photos from the meet. You see here Aiden O'Hara, who had a great meet. This is his 500 event. In the 500, he finished second. He swam a 4:42.65, which is the best time this year in Loudoun among all swimmers. He swam so well that William Lynn, the super swimmer from Potomac Falls, he finished third behind Aiden O'Hara. William Lynn swam 4:45.03, which is one of his best times of the year, but O'Hara just took so much more time off his personal best there for the season. So a shout out to both O'Hara and William Lynn. Here's Joaquin Gabriel in the 100 breast from Champ, 5th place. So John Champ, the new high school this year, with their first state swim medal. Congratulations to Joaquin. Obviously in that photo he is not Joaquin, he is swimming. Lizzie Mighton from Briar Woods. She was 4th in the 500. I believe this shot here is seen as her in the 500. She was also 7th in the 200 free. Actually, she was 6th. The 200 free, Lizzie Mighton was 6th, and Rachel Williams of Dominion was 7th. So 6 and 7. That was nice. We have Carrie Lee from Heritage doing the 100 back. She was 3rd place in the 100 back. She was also 4th place in the 100 fly. So Carrie Lee, great meet. Here's some more photos of Loudoun swimmers. And from the reports I'm getting, you see the Loudoun swimmers cheering, is that they were the most spirited swimmers at states. That they basically stood out. They were probably the largest group as a whole, and just had, the most spirit. They enjoyed their time. They rooted for other schools, not just for their school. And they even got to know some of the mascots from the other schools here, as you can see. So, congratulations to all the swimmers. We should mention that William Lynn was 4th in the 200 IM. Congratulations. Milda Ogongo in that 200-yard IM, won by Rosenberg of Heritage. Tuscarora's Ogongo was 7th. Brennan Maxwell of Briar Woods took 3rd in the 100-yard fly. Chris Bannister from Woodgrove was 8th in the 100-yard free. You can see we're mentioning a lot of different schools here. We talked about O'Hara and Lynn in the 500 free and Mighton in the 500 free. But we also had some relays where teams did well. The Potomac Falls boys were 5th, the 200-yard medley. The Heritage girls were 6th in that 200-yard medley. In the 200-yard free relay, Heritage took 4th. The Heritage relays, the boys really stepped it up this week. Let's look at Jake Schroth, Philip Crouch, Daniel McAllister, and Tim Burse. 131.02 there for 4th place. The Tuscarora girls were another relay team that kind of stepped up. Bailey Jenkins, Imelda Ogongo, Angela McMullen, and Pim Silpacharn. They were 5th in the 200-yard free relay. But in the 100-yard breast that was won by Rosenberg, we should mention that Ariana Staffen, another great swimmer from this area, was 6th. In the last event of the day, Loudoun showed just how strong they can be. 6th place for Heritage, 7th place for Potomac Falls in the men's 400-yard free relay. And on the girls' side, we had 3 teams medal in the finals. We had Dominion 6th, Heritage 7th, or it's 8th. A lot more names and relay teams that were in the consolation finals. You go to VivaLoudoun.com. You can check out all the times for wrestling. You can check out all the wrestlers, even those who didn't medal. So swimming is finished. Great job by the swimmers. Wrestling is finished, and also gymnastics is finished. So a big shout out to all the gymnasts who finished up this weekend. We've updated our top swim times on Viva Loudoun for the boys and girls, our final ones of the year, and we've updated our top gymnastics times too. Allie Gibbs from Freedom and Carrie Stolzenberg from Broad Run. They both were all state in the beam. They tied for 8th. So congratulations there. If you go to Viva Loudoun, you can see the top all-around scores of the year, where you've got Stolzenberg and Gibbs on top, with Sarah Connors had a nice year for Briar Woods. And we go through the events with the vault and the bar and the beam. So gymnastics season finishing up, and it will change too with the way the playoffs are changing. I think what we're going to have now for the first time since way back in the 90s, when Parkview had a great run winning AA state gymnastics titles, AA teams since then have not been able to win state titles to go on as teams because there aren't enough teams around the state that are doing gymnastics. That's going to change next year, and I believe there will be some sort of Division 1 through 4 or 1 through 5 or something where they're all grouped together, where there will be a chance for our Division 3, 4, and 5 schools to win state titles. You can see an ad here for Apex Gymnastics, along with Cheers, one of our great sponsors who have been with us the whole time. So thank you to Cheers. We have some football recruiting news today, so I guess we should talk a little bit about that. Briar Woods is the 3 state championships in a row, and they are making recruiting news. We put a couple things up tonight, so a lot of people might not have seen this, but Brandon Polk, who's only a sophomore, Virginia Tech offered him about 10 days ago, and then just at the end of last week, the University of Maryland offered him. So that's ACC offer, a future Big Ten offer. Congratulations, Brandon Polk. And Jared Coker, big lineman for Briar Woods. He's been offered by Bowling Green and UMass already, and of course their quarterback, Trace McSorley, who I believe is 500-0 as a starter in high school. He's been offered by a number of different schools. So Briar Woods, they had a big signing last year where they had Alex Carter, who went to Stanford. Of course, this year, Matt Rowland going to Florida. They had Cam Serenay, who's going to Wake Forest. So they've had these big signings, and it looks like they're going to continue to have big signings as we go on. Last bit of news we want to touch on at the end of the show is VHSL is always changing things. They're always trying to tweak their rules, and we noticed something today. Well, first of all, spring sports tryouts are tomorrow. That's right. Soccer, boys and girls. Tennis, boys and girls. Baseball, softball. Lacrosse, boys and girls. Track and field. Get ready. I don't care if it's 35 degrees tomorrow, wind chill 15. Spring tryouts are happening. So by the end of this week, the teams will be picked. And one of the rule changes that we see is that soccer has always been different in high school. And in soccer throughout the world, if you get one yellow card in a match and then get a second yellow card in a match, you are shown a red card because 2 yellow cards basically equal a red card and you are ejected. You cannot get 2 yellow cards from the referee in a match. Well, high school and VHSL over the years has always been what they call a soft red card. If you got a second yellow card in the game in Virginia high school league games, yes, you were sent to the bench and you couldn't play, but your team could replace you, and your team did not have to play down a man, and you weren't suspended the next game either, like you were if you went out and got a straight red card. Well, that's being changed this year. I think they felt like that some of the teams were taking advantage of it. There were too many of these soft red cards, and so the rules will be in line with the rest of the soccer world. You get your second yellow card in a high school game this year, you will be shown a red card, and your team will not be able to replace you. Your team will have to play down a man, and you're going to have to sit out the next game. So I think soccer players are going to have to be a little bit more on their best behavior, like they should be anyway. So we're here every Monday night from the world headquarters in Ashburn, Virginia, where all the magic of the show happens. And feel free throughout the week to give us some questions. Don't forget, free t-shirt coming to whoever can do the Photoshop of the Incredible Hulcher. But we're looking forward to next week's show, where we're going to talk about all the basketball that happened, and we will also then start our spring sports previews to try to see what's going on with spring sports. It should be exciting. But until then, I'm Dan Sousa, and you've been watching Viva Loudoun Live with Dan Sousa.